DanDaDan. Aliens with sex organs, a perverted ghost granny, and fights that feel like they were pulled straight out of an acid trip. It's already an insane manga that blends horror, comedy, and shonen energy into something that is completely unpredictable. But when it comes to adapting a manga like this, just copying the panels one for one isn't enough. The best anime adaptations out there know how to elevate the source material, using sound design and motion to make moments hit harder. Demon Slayer did this with the Entertainment District arc. In the manga, Tengen's sound breathing is explained with a couple of text box. He reads his enemies' attacks like notes in a song. But in the anime, Studio Ufotable turns this into an extended fight scene, using sound design where you can feel the rhythm of his ability. Or take Chainsaw Man. Studio Mappa added an entire anime original scene of Aki's morning routine. Brushing his teeth, making coffee, smoking his morning cigarette. His apartment's plain, his routine is rigid, and it shows how his life is built entirely around discipline and revenge against the gun devil. This is the level of attention Saint Saru brings to DanDaDan. So here's 10 ways DanDaDan's anime adaptation elevates the manga. In the very first episode, after Okarun discovers Turbo Granny in the tunnel, the manga just gives us 2 quick pages of Okarun bolting to his bike and then having Turbo Granny overtake him. But the anime stretches it into a cinematic set piece. First, the camera cuts to the tunnel exit. It looks like he's about to make it out. Then, we snap to an overhead shot and suddenly the tunnel stretches unnaturally, making the distance feel way longer than it should. The entire space bleeds red as Turbo Granny starts her chase. And we even see her POV as she puts a curse on Okarun. When we get Okarun's name at the end of the first episode, Takakura Ken, the manga plays it calm and intimate. A 2-page spread against a white background, symbolizing a quiet moment where Momo starts to catch feelings. But the anime embraces Saint Saru's signature chaotic style. Okarun quotes Takakura Ken, calling himself an awkward fellow, and then the camera cuts to the UFO buzzing with static as the tension builds up. And when Okarun reveals his name, that tension bursts. The UFO explodes in sync with a close-up of Momo's face. A key part of what makes this anime adaptation so special is how the voice actors perfectly capture each character's persona, especially during their transformations. Hanai Natsuki channels each of Okarun's lines with a shy, timid awkwardness. But whenever he's using Turbo Granny's powers, his voice twists with bitterness, almost like a bitter old vampire. Sakura Ayane injects Ira's speech with a cutesy charm whenever she's with her friends or trying to win over Okarun. But the second she's clashing with Momo, the mask drops into pure chaos, like she's declaring war. And finally, she adds an elegance to her voice once she uses Silky's powers. Meanwhile, Ishikawa Kaito flamboyantly captures Gigi's class clown bravado, always putting on a show for those around him. But we see that all collapse once Evil Eye takes over. His voice fractures into something cold and deliberate, with that laid distortion making him sound like a serial killer. And beyond that, the voice acting layers into the playful references too. Ira unleashes a full JoJo-style Aura barrage, and Okarun and Gigi break into the slam dunk opening and closing themes. In the manga, Acrobatic Silky's origins runs for about 11 pages. It's powerful and compact. The anime, however, treats it as a silent short film. It was like Saint Saru looked at each panel and asked, how can we expand each moment and make the audience live inside Silky's tragedy? Everything in her life is washed out. The sex work, the streets she walks in, it feels like everything in the world is weighing her down. But the second she's shown with her child, the whole palette shifts. The room fills with warmth and light floods in. This contrast makes that fleeting happiness shine all the brighter, but that hope is short-lived. Whilst in the manga, the chase for a kidnapped child is sketched in a handful of panels, the anime makes it a full-blown nightmare. You feel her desperation as she crashes through the door with a shattered glass and the blood dripping from her arm. And we have a perspective shift. The shaky first-person camera with a frantic movement through narrow corridors. The sound of her ragged breathing as it all pulls you into her panic. And the lead up to her transformation shifts shifts too. In the manga, Silky appears in the red dress she had once admired in a window shop, a symbol of the life she wished she could have given to her daughter. But the anime strips that image away. Instead, Ira confronts her in her torn clothes before she erupts into her yokai form. It makes the moment feel raw and immediate. Quick fun fact, Acrobatic Silky shares the same voice actress as the boss in Metal Gear Solid 3, Kikuko Inoue. She did such a great job that even Kojima himself came out praising her work, saying how her performance of Acrobatic Silky surpassed the boss. What makes Evil Eye terrifying isn't just the strength of his attacks, but how the anime amplifies his presence. Whilst his energy in the manga is suggested through heavy inks and a stark backdrop, the anime drowns him in a deep purple aura that spills across the frame, warping the background around until it feels like the whole space is under his control, making his presence unavoidable. And when he attacks, each kick is punctuated with sharp impact frames that freeze the moment in jagged purples and blacks, before the ball explodes forward. Laid on top is a piercing shriek, like the souls inside are screaming with every kick. It's an audio-visual reminder that his powers are literally fueled by suffering. And honestly, Evil Eye kicking the ball looks cleaner than all of Blue Lock Season 2's PowerPoint presentation. For Hayashi's performance in exercising Evil Eye, the manga already makes the performance feel visceral in the way it's drawn. You can practically see each band member tearing through each page with their respective instrument, but the actual sound is left up to the reader's imagination. Luckily for the anime, Science Saru isn't faced with those limitations. Hayashi's performance explodes into a full audiovisual set piece. Lights, lasers, the whole stage erupts and suddenly feels like you've been dropped into a midnight rave. Not only are the main cast vibing out, but even the dead spirits are shown to come out bobbing their heads and grooving to the beat, turning this into a legitimate concert. And the track itself, Hunting Soul, couldn't be more fitting. The high tempo rock sound feels like it's going straight for Evil Eye. Another fun fact, but did you know that the lead singer of Hayashi, voice actor Kisho Taniyama, also voices Jun in Attack on Titan? From killing titans to singing in rock bands, the man's range is insane. In the manga, the music room portraits fight is already a wild idea. Cursed portraits of classical composers come alive, unleashing symphonies that explode like bombs. The paddy field illusion from Symphony No. 6 and the Grand Opera House conjured by Symphony No. 9 set the stage for chaos. But just like the Hayashi performance, the actual sound is left up to imagination. The anime takes those ideas and pushes them into pure psychedelia. The classroom dissolves into a kaleidoscope of landscapes, and the notes scatter like confetti. Each attack is tied to a musical instrument, with each note carrying its own color. Another small detail I love is how Science Saru shows Okarun's sheer speed when he goes full throttle. The frame warps, red streaks cut across the screen, and with every beat he gets faster with his appearance blurring. Layered on top is this roaring jet engine stream in the background, like his body is breaking through the sound barrier as he moves, making his acceleration feel unstoppable. In the manga, the rematch between Okarun and Evil Eye is sharp but brief. Okarun dodges and lands a barrage of punches where the intensity and speed is conveyed through repetition. The anime blows this up into a full spectacle, as the whole environment bends as the fight progresses. At one point, Evil Eye literally materializes a purple house and drops it on Okarun. And this scene is exclusively in the anime. Evil Eye's aura drenches the screen in purple, while Okarun's speed leaves behind streaks of red, making every exchange a clash of colors. And my favorite part in this fight is when Okarun takes on this demon-like form. However, it's only 2 panels in the manga before he reverts back to his original design. The anime, however, lingers on it for longer. His hair violently thrashes around him like he's on fire. His glowing eyes and jagged grin dominate the frame, and the red backdrop makes it feel like he's about to burn through the screen, making Okarun feel just as terrifying as Evil Eye himself. In the manga, Kinta Sakata makes a very abrupt appearance. Chapter 64 opens with Okarun as he minds his own business, when Kinta comes in out of nowhere. He insults Okarun by calling him subpar, and then demands to know how Okarun's able to pull so many girls. It's very jarring, and it sets the tone as to why a lot of people don't like Kinta. The anime, on the other hand, whilst doesn't fix his personality, does ease you into him and recontextualizes on how Kinta thinks. He aura farms every moment he gets and hypes himself up like he's the protagonist. He also sings the Gundam theme song as he walks to school. This all feels very silly, but it makes him feel like a kid who's just trying a bit too hard to project confidence. The anime also cleverly inserts him into existing scenes. During episode 5, when Okarun and Momo are trying to find each other during the lunch break, we also see Kinta walking around looking for Okarun. It's a small tweak, but it reframes him as someone who's just lonely and wants to make a new friend. Kinta is also very practical. He thinks that if Okarun has the attention of girls, then there must be a method behind it, a method he can crack. That's why he stalks Okarun and is always overlooking on what he's doing. Hell, when Okarun is eager for lunch to see Momo, he accidentally reads his alien book upside down, to which Kinta immediately mirrors, holding his book the same way like a gospel, as if copying Okarun's habits will unlock the same results. He even walks laps around Okarun with his Gundam, desperately trying to grab his attention. So by the time he finally confronts Okarun, bluntly asking him for his methods of seduction, it's not as jarring as it was in the manga. By showing us these small acts of mimicry and the jealousy when he sees Okarun and Momo's accidental kiss, you can at least somewhat sympathize with him. But don't get me wrong, he's still divisive, loud, and annoying at times.
ちくしょう、持ってやがって。いつだ、どのタイミングで入れば持てる。今か、今か、今だ。テンガロンチンコ。金太負けるな。
In the search for Okarun's last golden ball, it's revealed that a kaiju has managed to grab hold of it. And so, the gang needs something big in order to stand a chance against it. That's when they use the nano skin from Momo's house to turn it into a giant mech, sending everyone sliding around into their seats like mecha pilots. The anime takes this idea further by blasting a triumphant mecha BGM and leans into the absurdity of the situation. Okarun's shoot ride looks straight out of a Looney Tunes episode where he goes around in circles, before it shifts into him swimming through toilet water. I'd also like to think that him being surrounded in toilet water is a nod to the LCL liquid in Evangelion. Evil Eye slides in, bathed in rainbow lights. Kinta bounces around like a pinball. Momo soars upwards like she's about to get launched. And Ira lands after performing multiple front flips. And to top it all off, Science Saru even adds mecha-style comm screens. Look, I know I said 10, but after finishing the season finale, I have to include this final one. Having defeated the kaiju, the gang needs to navigate out of the city with a bunch of spectators looking in. And it's so funny to see Evil Eye climb up a building and throw a tantrum like a child, to which Okarun needs to buy a meat bun in order for him to just get down. Now, bringing the kaiju corpse back to Momo's house, Okarun discovers there's someone inside the kaiju suit, and after undoing the zipper, he finds an alien. He finds Vamola, and then she leans in to kiss Okarun. Whilst the manga only gives us Momo's shocked expression, the anime takes it further by paying homage to the very first episode. With Momo clutching onto the nanoskin that is her house, we see her blow it up in a similar manner to the UFO explosion in the first episode, showing her jealousy over Okarun's first kiss. But that's just 10 things that I found. What about you? What did you like about DanDaDan? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, I've got plenty more coming. Anyway, video's over. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.